In case you didn't realize it, this is the first business day of the fourth quarter of 2022. That's right, we're winding down the year. We're going to talk today about finishing strong, the challenges. So think of what challenges you as we head into this fourth quarter and see if your list matches ours. All that and more coming up next on today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom. Happy
morning,
Monday.
Bob.
What?
Nothing.
Oh, boy. Tom told me before this program, so we've done this almost 700 times. What, 679? This is our 679th?
Yes.
He told me before this program something he's never said to me in all those episodes. I'm kind of in a weird mood today. So I know he's celebrating because he was out in the rain yesterday and the Buffalo Bills beat the Baltimore Ravens, sadly, for we Ravens fans. But it was a hard-fought game. It was a good game. And I don't know how you survived the rain out there because I took the trash out at halftime, and it was icky, to say the least.
You know, it was not that bad at all. Like, okay. Honestly, the third quarter, it rained a little bit harder. Other than that, it was a drizzle. At least that's what it seemed like in the stadium. Now, again, you know, I'm a lacrosse official, so I've got the right gear, or I've got good gear.
And you're from the upper New York area where this was a good weather game for Buffalo.
Yes, yes, because the last Bills game I was at, I think the wind chill was like minus 19 or something like that.
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago, right?
No, last January. This past January.
That's okay.
Right. It was the final game of the year, yes. And so I didn't think the weather was that big a deal. It was not cold. Like, you know, it was funny. I was listening to the radio on the way in. They're like, wow, it's going to be 50 and rainy, which is going to be, it's like, yeah, okay. So what? 50 and rainy is like a couple of sweatshirts or a sweatshirt and a long shirt and a rain jacket. It's not like the winds weren't blowing. The weather was not that impactful.
Okay. All right. Well, good. I'm glad, because I understand it was a birthday gift from your wife to go to the game, correct?
It was a combination gift.
Birthday and what else?
It was our anniversary on Saturday.
Oh, how many years?
28.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thanks. Yes, 28.
I have more of an appreciation for that now than I did in my past, I will confess.
Fair enough. It was
anyone wants to know why, direct message me. I'll be happy to tell you.
Yes. Yeah, no.
Go ahead, please proceed.
No, so it was a good. It was a good, and we went to something different. I had a very interesting weekend. Was at the Renaissance Fair on Saturday. Our daughter is a big fan of the Renaissance Fair, so we went up to Pennsylvania for the Renaissance Fair, which was.
How many men in tights did you see?
You know, it's fun. A few. Okay. There were a lot of people dressed up. I mean, it was.
It's a big thing.
Because it was a rainy day as well.
Yes.
And, you know, we were like, well, it's raining. And Liz and I weren't, I think, overly jazzed about dressing up. Chloe, our daughter, loves to go. And she goes regularly, and she loves.
Hold on. Did you dress up?
I did not.
Okay. I was going to stop the program right now until you showed us a photo.
And I felt a little out of place in that way. People all dressed up. It was great. I mean, it's one of those things. It's the renegade in all of us. And that's what I embraced that day, is that everybody has their thing, you know, the way that this is, and they choose to do that. And people were having a great time. Yeah. So it was a really cool, for me, I'm a great people watcher. I love to watch people. And so, you know, it's just great to see people in their elements enjoying what they enjoy. Just like the day at the Ravens game, Ravens-Bills game yesterday. It was people who, and well, some of the crowd ended up enjoying what they enjoyed. The rest of the crowd, not as much.
So did you eat the big turkey leg at the rent? No, you didn't. But they were there, right?
They were there. People were eating them. My stomach was a little off. So I didn't eat much of anything, which was, I think, one of the unfortunate things for me is there was good food there. There were just all around. There were interesting different things. And I was just not up for that at the moment. So,
all right. Well, it's a wild weekend.
It was a wild weekend for me, but it was an enjoyable one. So, but now back to, as you said, the first business day of the year, which was an interesting introduction. As I listened to
the first business day of the fourth quarter of the year.
Correct. Sorry.
Not of the year.
Correct.
Well, unless you're a government employee, in which case this is the first business day of the government year, because government year ended September 30th.
Oh, fair. See, so I wasn't completely off.
I helped you out there.
But it was interesting.
Was that our celebrations, Tom, or
no? Well, I don't. It could be. They don't have to be. I'll wait. I'll hold off on this point because I want to welcome people to today's Antidote. They may have no idea except for the obvious
banner up top.
Banner up top is helpful.
Although not so much if you're on the podcast.
Not so much. Although you did have to.
By the way, if you're on the podcast, do us a huge favor. Share it with someone that you think would value it, or rate us 5 stars. We'd love to get a 5-star rating. It would make my day. I'll even accept 4 stars.
You haven't pushed people to rate us in a while.
I know. I was trying to see if it would happen organically.
You're really trying to finish the year strong, aren't you? Although you did share that it was winding down, or as the year winds down. Winding down and finishing strong, there's a little bit of a dichotomy there, I think.
Oh, I'm going to have to think about that one.
Just think, winding down is kind of like, yeah.
The year itself is winding down. We're getting fewer days. That doesn't mean, that if I'm running a marathon, it's winding down when I'm in the last 3 miles. Doesn't mean I have to wind down.
Correct. The way you phrased it, though, was winding down the year. Not the year was winding down.
Okay. All right.
It was winding down. So that sounded like an action to me. Anyhow.
Okay.
So way off my intro. So anyhow, everyone, welcome to today's Antidote. As we go through our conversation, as we do every weekday, we encourage you to share your thoughts and ideas. You can do that on whatever platform you happen to be following us on, except for the podcast, whether that is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or
LinkedIn Live, baby, on a Monday morning.
I went to LinkedIn Live, baby. Last night, I was like, oh, you know what? I need to do this because Bob keeps giving me a hard time about doing it. I did. I was not expecting that. I don't know why. I just wasn't expecting that. I was expecting something different. And anyhow, I appreciated it. So
the secret's out there, folks. You can go see it. All you have to do is go to LinkedInLiveBaby.com.
So again,
you will see something very useful. Wouldn't you say, Tom?
Absolutely. We welcome and encourage your comments and thoughts and ideas. So please feel free to share them because we know it adds value to our show. And at the end of our conversation, Bob and I will each offer our one thing, our today's antidote. That thing that we will help you today, or somewhere down the line when you are stuck and uncertain how to take your next step. And this antidote will be just the thing you are looking for to help you move forward. So if you have your one thing, of course, we would love you to share that as well. Because we know that while what we offer, we know has value, we also understand and appreciate that what you do has value as well. And someone out there might be looking for exactly what you have to say. So please feel free to share your thoughts and ideas. As Bob sort of gave a little prelude to, each morning we do our celebrations. Bob, what are you celebrating today?
So I had the experience Saturday night of being out with a former NFL football player. I was out with some people, and this was one of the people in that group. And I was somewhat intimidated in preparation for this evening, but turned out super nice guy, coaches one of the high school football teams in the Baltimore area.
Nice.
And couldn't have been nicer. And interestingly, Tom, I asked him if he missed playing in the NFL. And he said, I don't miss playing. Guess what he missed?
Miss being around the team.
Yep. He said, I've never been closer to anyone in my entire life. He's like, you spend so much time in the trenches with these guys, sharing experience. He played for 6 years in the NFL, and he said he misses that more than anything. But he also loves that he's coaching high school kids.
Sure.
And that they get it. And what a great experience for a high school kid to be coached by a former NFL player.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I think it's, it's one of those things one of the things I love most about being on a team is that those relationships and the bonds that you build, because you spend a lot of time with people. I mean, I went to a very small school and I was a decent athlete. And so I had some successes on the field and on the court. And yet maybe one of my most maybe enjoyable years was the year I played JV basketball at Hamilton, and I hardly played. We had 10 guys on the team, and we became a really close-knit group. And I enjoyed going to practice as much as anything, because I just got to spend time with this group of guys that were very unique, and we were all different, and we each brought something of that uniqueness to the team that was really enjoyable. And I will always look back fondly on that year that we spent together, that season we spent together. So there's definitely something that happened, and I think it's one of those things that anytime you have a group of people that are together for a long time, trying to achieve common goals, that starts to happen. You start to get that feeling like it's really about the people as much as it is about anything else. So didn't surprise me.
And it was a really great reminder to me about how it's not always about the thing itself that you enjoy, but it's sometimes the things around that thing that bring you value.
Yes.
And I think in work that can be the thing. How many times I've left many jobs where I didn't really mind. I wasn't so thrilled about the work, but I loved the people I was working with. So
makes it really hard to leave.
Tracking with us, Tom. Steven says his high school didn't have football, but now his high school is a football powerhouse, and he's a Heisman. See how he did that? Steven Heisman, his last name. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. Yeah, I thought you'd like that.
My team didn't have football either, and doesn't to this day, unfortunately. Or I don't know. I didn't mind not having it.
So what are you celebrating, Tom? You got a lot of possibilities here.
A lot of possibilities that I think I've already shared. Although, of all of them, I want to celebrate my anniversary that was on Saturday. Because that's, again, someone that I've spent 28 years plus years with is significant. And it's all about that relationship that, and as like with any
and
team.
We're talking about the great Liz, who is our voice artist at the beginning of the program, and truly one of the nicest people I've ever met.
I would agree.
Yeah.
And I think it's just like being on any other team. We're a team. You go through your ups and downs. You have your wins and things that don't go as you thought, and you find ways to keep moving forward because it's about the relationship. So that's my celebration.
Tom, we have a question from Steven here that I think you should probably answer. Do you guys ever hold hands when you're in public and you're walking around?
Is he talking about you and I or Liz and I?
I did not see that one coming. Let's answer both. We're rarely together. Now, we did play golf once, and I believe we held hands going up the 18th hole, but no, I'm kidding. We did not. I don't think I've ever held your hand.
I don't believe we've shaken hands. Shaken hands. Yeah, we've shaken hands. That's about it. Yes, occasionally my wife and I do. It depends on the situation. I think it's one of those things that it's interesting. He says that. I was watching some video. I don't know why. And there was a guy sneaking around, and it was in some European country, I believe, or somewhere where it looked like people were on vacation. And so if he saw couples walking together, he would and that, I never know whether these things are staged or not. He would go and grab the guy's arm and put it around the woman, or one of the person's arms and put it around the other person. And it was interesting to see how they reacted. It was almost like they drew closer because this person did this. Like, you would see them walking next to each other. And again, I don't know how somebody, anytime you grab somebody's arm and you put it around them, but maybe they just thought it was the person that was with them did it. And you just see them seem to be closer together. Like they're just, at one point, they're just two people walking, and then they almost become like as one walking. It was an interesting video to watch, because they showed him doing it to like 5 or 6 people. And you could just see like the, not stress or tension, just like how much they relaxed and almost like remembered why they were together, for whatever that looked like. It was interesting. So I don't know where that came from, but
I will ring in a little bit. I really like holding hands, but over the last, and over the, so I guess this will resonate in some weird way. When you've held hands with one person for a number of years, and then you find someone else that you're holding hands with, it's a different act.
Sure.
How you hold hands, and that's exciting and jarring. But I'm a big fan of holding hands out in public. That doesn't bother me at all. I really like that. There's something about that. If I could constantly be holding a person's hand, not yours, preferably a woman's, that would be the way I would want to go through any kind of, outdoor, going to Renaissance Festival or whatever, anything like that.
Well, I think that it's one of the, as I love holding hands with my wife, and then there's also like holding hands with a little kid's hand.
Oh,
that
that's
to me is well, I don't know. Well, it might be the best for you. That's fair. It's a very, I don't even know the right word for that.
It's so carefree.
Yeah, and they do it with such ease.
Yeah,
I think it's almost.
But they're like also conditioned because they know crossing the street you have to hold hands, and I think it's also a safety thing.
Sure, certainly.
You're bigger.
Yeah.
You see, so if something's going to happen, you'll drag them along. Yeah, I that was one of my favorite parts of my nieces and nephews, was when they're really little and they just hold your hand when you're walking around, or you had to hold their hand because otherwise they'd jet off in some direction.
Yeah. All right. So we have had an interesting.
We are far afield today.
I told you it was, my mind's in a weird place for some reason. So now that
if you're paying close attention, you're getting a lot of information. That's all.
Right. I'm not sure what it says about finishing the year strong. So, Bob, do you have any thoughts about finishing the year strong and the challenges that it faces?
I do. So the first challenge is in your head. I think one of the things that I see happens for me, and sometimes other people that I've coached, is they get defeated at this point in the year. It's like, I'm not going to hit my sales goal for this year. I'm not going to hit this. I'm not going to get this done. And rather than try to finish strong, they talk themselves into failure and say, I'm not going to finish strong. Well, I can't really do this campaign because if I start this campaign, it's going to bleed into Thanksgiving and Christmas. By the end of, by the middle of November, no one's going to care. The weather's going to get bad or whatever. We can talk ourselves out of finishing strong. I think the other thing is we often haven't done the prep work over the last 3 quarters. And I think this is when it really comes to fruition that we start to go, oh, hey, you know what? Haven't really played the game fully up till now. And so the challenge now is, do I want to play the game fully, and can I catch up on the things I didn't accomplish in the past? And what I would say, well, we'll get to that tomorrow. And then the third challenge I would offer is that a lot of people around us have given up. And I think there's a certain air of giving up that you see that no one's really pushing. It's not like if you run a half marathon or a 5K or a 10K or any kind of running event, when you get to the last mile or two, everyone's pushing everyone else. You see that person 50 feet ahead of you still running. You're like, oh, I'm so tired. I just want to stop. But you keep going because that person's pushing on and you want to follow them in that pathway. I don't know that we see that as much in business and in our work. We don't have that person who's pushing that we can look forward to and be like, wow, Tom's really pushing this last quarter. I should do the same thing. And I think that's where, frankly, Tom, that's an area for you and me to really think about in the next couple of days. What can we do to bring that to this group? Right?
Sure. Yeah, so, I think it's interesting that I think that one of the real challenges is that there's so many things we can't control. And I think that's the hard part about it, is that we think we can control everything. And to relate it to a game, you think that because the start went one way that everything was going to go the same way. Well, you can't control that. You can't control, again, because there's a lot of other factors going on. And what people forget about in a game is that the other team's trying to.
Right.
And so or in your marathon is like, yeah, you may think that you're in great shape. Well, there's other people out there who are also trying to do exactly the same thing you are. And so, I think that idea of control, and usually control is led by the expected outcomes that we have. Again, everybody at the beginning of the year sets goals or expectations, or they choose a word or something to say, like, this is how they want to identify the year. And then they've got 364 days with many, many things that are going to happen that are going to impact the decision or the thoughts that they had. And so I think there's value because it gives you direction. And I also think that it is an opportunity, if we let that initial goal, word, thoughts get too far in front of us, they impact us. And, we get to that point where we don't want to finish strong. And I think that's part of the other thing, is we don't control it, and it's hard. The year is a long time. Any game is a long time. Time is, even though it's a fleeting thing, other times it seems it's really long. And so you get to this point of the year and you may feel like, even if you've gone, there's both sides to it, I think. Things haven't gone the way you had hoped. And so you're frustrated by that. Or things have gone really well and you're like, man, that was hard work to get to where we are. Maybe I'll just finish out the year. Maybe I'll let the year wind down. And because things have gone so well so far. And, if I push really hard at the end of the year, maybe I won't get the opportunity to really jumpstart next year. And so maybe I'll just enjoy the successes that I've had and the upcoming seasons, and then be ready to go again next year. So I think that there's lots of challenges at this time of year of why people might have a hard time finishing strong.
There's also a lot going around. Kids are in school.
Of course. There's all those things you can't control. They're holidays. They're
Yep. I was thinking last week how many things I have booked in October that are just life stuff, from doctor's appointments to just events that you have to participate in for a variety of reasons. And those networking events are heating up again, more in-person stuff. And that makes it challenging, I think, because there's that tug of war between marketing whatever you're doing and doing what you're doing.
And the season has changed.
Yeah.
I let the dog out this morning and I could hear the rain, and, I knew it was cool because it was cool yesterday, and kind of makes you want to go back to bed. Not, it's bright, sunny, it's a beautiful sunrise coming up, and I just can't wait to get out there and, do what I do.
Yes.
And I think that those things affect it. There's less sunlight, the weather changes. There's just a lot about it that there are a lot of challenges that stand in our way, just like with anything else. I think that there are lots of challenges and there's lots of opportunities. And I think we have the option, the choice, to choose which we are going to either follow or let impact us in ways that slow us down.
Is that your one thing?
I'm not sure. What's your one thing?
I think my one thing is that the challenges are a sign that it matters. You know, I'm realizing more and more when there are challenges, when I put challenges in front of me, or when there are challenges in front of me, that's things that matter to me. If there are no challenges, it's not really that important to me. And more, if there are no challenges and it's not important to me, I'm letting it go from my whole calendar. It's not important. So the fact that there are challenges in trying to accomplish something means that matters. And so how do you address those things? I also think, as we'll talk, I'm sure, over the course of the week, the learning comes from overcoming the challenges more than anything else.
Sure. And I think that to sort of go along with that, I think there's a balance, or tries to be a balance of when do the challenges make it important, and when do we let the challenges drive us from that thing that's important? And I think that that's so often, I think there's a very fine line between those things that drive us and those things that overwhelm us and frustrate us, and we choose to go in a different direction because there are too many challenges. And I think that it was interesting when you were saying that, all I could think about was like, well, it would seem then that the really, really hard things are the things we buckle down and are going to do. And I think what really happens is, for many, is those things that are really, really hard, they're important because they're really hard, and they're really hard, which means maybe I'm just not willing to put in the effort to finish strong, that I just want to let it wind down. So I think that's my one thing.
Okay. I like that. That's a good one.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us for this interesting episode of today's Antidote. I think we finally got to where we were trying to get to at the start, even though I'm not sure we really ever know where we're trying to get to outside of our one thing. Our celebrations are one thing. That's about it. All right. So
it could be anything.
If you have your antidote that you'd love to share, we'd like to hear it. So please feel free to share it. If you happen to be listening to the podcast, we know that unfortunately there is no place to share that. So we would encourage you to come to one of our two groups, whether you join us in LinkedIn, if that's your thing, for the Renegade Success Network for Leaders, or if you're a Facebook person, you can join us in our Ring of Renegades. We look forward to seeing you there, and we look forward to you sharing your thoughts and ideas. We'll be talking about finishing the year strong all week, and we look forward to your thoughts and ideas in each of those groups. So we look forward to seeing you inside our two groups, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time, for our next episode of today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, embrace the renegading you. No matter what you're doing today, embrace your inner renegade. You'll thank yourself at the end of the day.
Have I told you that I think that's going to be the title of my book?
Embrace the renegading you?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, wow. We're moving closer here. No, you did not tell me that.
I was thinking about that when I was driving back from Hamilton when I went a week or so ago. And I was just running through my head, and, with the subtitle of helping leaders find their next, helping leaders find, that was too long. I don't know. Their own unique pathway to success.
Okay, there you go. I like that. Very nice. Okay.
Which I think would be a nice lead into then, well, how do you do that? Well, there's the renegade way that you do that. Haven't done this in a while, so I might as well. The renegade way. If you're ever wondering about that, we have this great book written by Bob Graham. And
I know him.
If you would like a signed copy, I'm sure we could get that for you.
We could do that.
Just reach out to us and let us know. You can also go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com and purchase the book, and Bob will sign it and send it to you. So thanks so much for being with us. I think you already said all of that. So I'm just going to say, you know what? Go out and make it a great day. We'll see you soon. Thanks for listening to today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.